Uncertainty waits at the rim of dawn, nudging you to wonder whether today's effort will shape the outcome you crave or slip beyond reach. You have felt that tremor before, awake in darkness, counting possibilities like scattered stars. Yet in the fragile hush, the horizon glows like an ember, whispering that release is possible and trust more solid than fear. You inhale the cool air and feel God's guidance hover like a quiet wing above the fields, promising daily provision, steady patience, and a coming fulfillment more luminous than you imagine. He is the shepherd whose strength never wearies, who weaves beginnings and endings into blessing. So in this sacred moment, you lay aside your maps and timelines, inviting him to write the next lines of this day. Proverbs 3:5-6, trust in the Lord with all your heart. His wisdom unveils paths still hidden from your eyes. Which burden presses hardest against your chest? And what longing do you secretly guard? Will you entrust both to the one who fashions galaxies? Now, as your heart grows still, we step into the first light together. You stand at the threshold of sunrise, palms open to the cooling breeze, and breathe out every clenched ambition you tried to hold through the night. Waves of pale rose and gold remind you that the universe swings on an axis you do not spin. So you loosen your grip, letting deadlines, metrics, and tangled relationships fall like leaves, trusting they will land where grace intends. Psalm 55:2, casting every burden should feel like freedom, not failure. Surrender transfers weight from fragile shoulders to everlasting arms, lifting you higher than anxiety's reach. As your lungs fill again, name the heaviest stone you carry, the decision pending, the apology unsent, the security you crave. Whisper it aloud, then picture it settling into a river carried by his current. You notice how water neither strives nor stalls. It simply flows, guided by a hand unseen. So too are you shaped, the clay of your day resting upon the potter's wheel, turning gently under his steady rhythm. In that rhythm you discover unexpected strength. Released from compulsive planning, your mind grows spacious enough to sense quiet instructions. Call that friend, pause before responding. Walk slowly to notice the sparrow balancing on a fence post. Guidance arrives in subtle drafts of wind, and provision appears like dew on fields you did not plant, an encouraging message, a viable solution, a moment of laughter that eases tension. Keep breathing with patience, letting each exhale reaffirm that results belong to him. The dawn does not hurry, yet its brilliance overtakes darkness every time. So you walk into this morning lighter, aware that surrender is not resignation, but the gateway to creative partnership with God. You have released control, now pathways clear, and the story ahead awaits your faithful steps. Recall the Galilean boat rocking beneath uncertain fishermen. A single word from Jesus calmed the storm that threatened to swallow them. That same voice steadies you now, inviting you to loosen the rope of frantic control and let your heart drift upward like a kite released into steady wind. You are not abandoning responsibility, you are yielding outcomes to the one who commands weather and time. Therefore, step forward with unclenched hands. Let your planner serve as a sketch, not an idol. Thank God for doors that open and doors that close, for both teach you trust. Each time impatience tugs, return to this breath of release. Each time fear whispers, remember whose process carries you. You will find that what was once heavy becomes holy, infused with possibility you could never script. Finally, savor the stillness between heartbeats, hear the dawn chorus gathering strength. In that quiet music, pledge again to release control every hour today. You will practice surrender while responding to emails, during commutes, in conversations, whenever tension rises. Repetition turns surrender into reflex, and reflex into lifestyle. What begins as morning prayer soon becomes an all-day cadence, tuning your soul to divine timing and tender surprises. Walk on. Outcome belongs to God, but the journey unfolds beneath your trusting feet. You move deeper into morning radiance, sensing how trust is more than passive acceptance. It is an active leaning into certainty that God is already ahead of you. The meadow before you shimmers with dew like scattered diamonds, each droplet a quiet testimony that provision arrived long before you woke. Every blade of grass bows beneath that glimmering mercy, and so do you, inclining your soul toward the one who nourishes sparrows and arrays lilies without anxiety. Imagine your heart as an open sail catching wind. Without trust, the canvas hangs limp, but belief swells it with purpose, urging you forward across the unseen. So Isaiah 26:3, perfect peace, is a promised horizon for minds fixed on God. Such focus steadies footsteps and calms racing thoughts, turning uncertainty into worship. Pause and consider, what voices have persuaded you that every outcome rests on flawless performance? Those whispers grow faint when you anchor yourself in the character of the eternal. Faithful, unchanging, slow to anger, rich in compassion. Recall the constancy of sunrise. Not once has dawn failed to breach the dark since creation's first morning. That same reliability shelters you now. Let the warming light seep through your thoughts, melting the frost of skepticism, softening old disappointments, and clearing the fog of what-ifs. Trust is cultivated through remembrance. Revisit moments when unexpected kindness found you. An open door after many shut. A timely word that redirected sorrow. A provision exact to the penny. Trace those glimmers like constellations across past night skies. They outline a story of guidance impossible to deny. Each memory is a stepping stone over today's unknown river. You step, the stone appears, you step again. Another rises. This is the choreography of dependence. To strengthen this rhythm, breathe a prayer of relinquishment with every task ahead meetings. Errands, conversations. Whisper, guide me. As you dial the phone, murmur, steer my words. Before you send a message. These small invitations weave divine awareness into the ordinary, turning hallways into sanctuaries, dashboards into altars, kitchen sinks into holy ground. Where fear predicted failure, expectancy now anticipates mercy. Yet trust does not negate preparation, it transfigures motive. You can plan, research, and labor diligently, but now excellence sprouts from confidence instead of panic. Like a farmer who tills soil yet trusts rainfall he cannot summon, you work faithfully while yielding harvest timing to heaven. In meetings, your posture relaxes. No longer must you dominate conversations to feel safe. You listen, discern, contribute, then release results into omnipotent hands. When setbacks surface, and they will, trust becomes shield rather than shackle. Disappointment may sting, but it cannot define. You will take the lesson, adjust direction, and continue, certain that detours hide discoveries. Even delay can become a gift, stretching patience until it reflects the long, suffering heart of Christ. As daylight climbs higher, you realize that trusting is not an event, but a cadence. Inhale promise, exhale tension. Each breath writes an unbroken prayer, echoing through cells and sinews, singing, all is held. With that melody rising inside, you face the next endeavor not as a lone pilgrim, but as a beloved child escorted by majesty. You step onto the quiet road of morning, where soft light stripes the earth and each shadow retreats before it. The way ahead curves out of sight, yet you sense a steady presence pacing beside you, whispering directions in the rustle of leaves and the laughter of early doves. Your feet touch dew-cooled ground, and every imprint feels chosen, as though the designer of galaxies delights in mapping your smaller journey. Psalm 119:5, God's word illumines one stretch at a time, enough to move forward, not enough to rush, inviting trust that the next bend already glows beneath his watchful gaze. Remember when fog once hid the fork in your career or the turn in a relationship, and clarity arrived only after you paused to listen. Guidance rarely shouts, it ripples like water over stones, discerned by attentive souls. So you cultivate awareness, silence the device buzzing in your pocket, breathe until mind chatter settles. Notice how sunlight filters through branches in patterns that resemble handwritten sermons. In that hush, intuition aligns with scripture, and a subtle nudge confirms which conversation to begin, which door to close gently, which risk to take despite trembling knees. You are not a wanderer abandoned to chance. You are a pilgrim escorted by majesty. Picture the pillar of cloud that led Israel by day, billowing proof that uncertainty can be sanctuary when God shapes the road. Though the ancient desert stretched featureless, his presence defined orientation. Likewise, your modern corridors and traffic lights become sacred landmarks when you invite him to steer. Consider starting meetings with a breath prayer. Direct this dialogue, or scanning an agenda and silently asking, highlight what matters most. These small signals of dependence transform ordinary minutes into directed missions. Even missteps can be repurposed. If fatigue or pride diverts you down a dead end, guidance does not scold, it redirects. A gentle check-in conscience. A timely verse, a trusted friend's question. These are waypoints pointing you back to wisdom's trail. John 16:3, the Spirit of truth does more than inform, he accompanies, interpreting crossroads, warning of hazards. Celebrating right turns with interior peace, stronger than applause. When options multiply and urgency presses, remember that speed is not evidence of faith. You can linger, walk slowly, weigh motives, and still progress. Oaks do not sprout overnight. Rivers carve canyons through patient persistence. So let restraint guard you from impulsive detours. Pause long enough to taste the air of discernment, then proceed with confidence that obedience, not haste, measures success. Guidance also flows through community. Voices of mentors, scriptures read aloud, hymns that rise during commute. All combine like instruments forming a single melody. You recognize harmony when counsel aligns with godly values and fosters humility rather than ego. Where discord flares, pressure, flattery, concealed fear. Take caution, wisdom rarely hides in frenzy. As sun arcs higher, cast your concern for the afternoon into open sky. Trust that signposts will appear when required, a verse recalled at lunch, a sudden recollection of someone's need, a vivid idea breaking meeting monotony. You need not stockpile revelations. Manna falls fresh. Walk aware, thank often. Pivot quickly when love suggests a better route. Finally, envision twilight, greeting you with gentle satisfaction. Choice is made in step with eternal rhythm. Setbacks mined for instruction. Progress measured not by how far, but how faithfully you walked. Each footprint of obedience leaves a glimmer that may guide another pilgrim tomorrow. Continue down this luminous path. The shepherd strides ahead, lantern in hand, shaping every mile into meaning. You pause where the path widens into pasture, and morning light bathes tall grasses in a shimmer that feels almost audible. Each seed head tilted like a cup receiving dew. Here, provision is not a concept, but a fragrance on the wind, the scent of earth warmed for harvest. You remember that your Father feeds ravens who neither sow nor reap, yet lack nothing. How much more will He attend to the intricate needs of a willing heart? Rest your gaze on a single wildflower. It expends no rivalry, yet its color outshines royalty. Provision often arrives this quietly, embedded in ordinary moments, disguised as enough. Philippians 4:1-9. Your God meets every need out of limitless riches. Lack can become a canvas where generosity paints unexpected beauty. Name the lack that needles you. Maybe a financial shortfall, a deadline's loom, or emotional fatigue deeper than sleep can heal. Picture that emptiness as furrowed soil, then envision heaven's rain filling each groove until seeds germinate. Provision is seldom a sudden vault of abundance. It is slow hydration, steady and sufficient, teaching dependence one drop at a time. When fear counts coins or minutes, lift your eyes to count mercies. Instead, the meal already on the table, the mentor who volunteers wisdom, the breath that fuels your next sentence. Gratitude tunes senses to detect fresh gifts still unfolding. You can cooperate with generosity by releasing comparison. Coveting another's pasture blinds you to manna falling at your feet. Today, refuse the scrolling envy that whispers you are behind. Instead, inventory present assets, skill sets, friendships, access to truth, and ask how to steward them faithfully. As you give thanks, scarcity's voice fades beneath a chorus of sufficiency. Remember the boy who offered 5 loaves and 2 fish in Christ's hands. Simple lunch fed thousands. Your modest resources, surrendered, become instruments of multiplication. Provision is also protective. Perhaps a closed door shields you from overload. A postponed project spares you premature exposure. An unexpected bill awakens budgeting wisdom. What appears as subtraction can mask strategic care. Trace disappointments for hidden deliverance. You will often discover a precise alignment between restraint and future flourishing. To live in this mindset, cultivate rhythmic petitions throughout the day. Provide the words for this call. Supply patience for this child. Grant rest during commute. These breath-sized prayers open conduits for specific grace. Then watch for answers arriving in forms you might overlook: a colleague's timely insight, an extended green light, laughter that dissolves tension. Provision may not always amend circumstances, but it will always equip character. As noon approaches, note that sunlight no longer cool, but bright with intent mirrors God's active benevolence. Receive its warmth as metaphor. What He shines upon, He nurtures. What He nurtures, He intends to bear fruit. Your life, rooted in his soil, will bud in due season. Until harvest, celebrate each sprout. Hold today's resources loosely, trusting tomorrow's portion will be measured with equal wisdom. Finally, breathe deep and feel the ache of need soften into the calm of trust. Let gratitude ripple through your chest like ripened wheat swaying under summer breeze. Provision is not merely what you hold, it is who holds you. Walk forward with pockets of promise and heart uncluttered by worry. The provider travels with you, and his storehouses never echo empty. You settle beneath a spreading oak, whose branches reach slowly toward heaven, teaching your hurried spirit the language of stillness. Leaves rustle like the turning pages of time, reminding you that growth whispers before it shouts, that acorns must linger in dark soil before pushing green into daylight. In this quiet, you learn the art of unhurried expectation. Kneeling heart, open hands, ears tuned for the footfall of God's perfect timing. The world around you races, screens refresh, traffic pulses, ambitions jostle for first place. Yet patience asks you to abide in a rhythm older than calendars, one that measures progress by depth rather than speed. Consider the mighty river shaping canyons, carving majesty through centuries of persistence. If such grandeur requires ages, how gentle you can be with your own unfolding. Waiting is not passive resignation, it is active watchfulness, a steady gaze fixed on hints of grace emerging like dawn through blinds. You refine your focus, the aroma of brewing coffee, the touch of sun on your skin, the faint birdsong threading through urban hum. Each detail becomes a messenger announcing that life continues to blossom even when headlines scream delay. Patience also reframes disappointment. Instead of labeling unresolved prayers as failure, you view them as seeds incubating beneath unseen layers. Delay may be God's strategic pause, fortifying roots to bear future weight. While you wait, you prepare sharpened skills, nourish relationships, declutter motives. This season trains you to distinguish true desire from impulse, to taste contentment unseasoned by instant gratification. Waiting demands trust in process, and trust invites creative obedience. You can serve where doors stand open, offer encouragement, generate solutions within your reach. Each act evidence that life is more than the destination you crave. Doing good today protects your heart from bitterness tomorrow. Like a gardener tending beds that will not bloom for months, you water with faith, prune with wisdom, and smile at soil that looks unchanged, believing transformation stirs beneath. Even silence can sing. When heaven seems wordless, listen for subtle confirmations, an unexpected peace replacing panic, a timely phrase surfacing in conversation, strength to persevere one more hour. These are love letters handwritten between the lines of delay. Store them like lanterns along a corridor, and they will glow when night stretches long. To embody patience, align your breath with the steady ticking of creation. Inhale possibility, exhale urgency when impatience flares. Picture yourself as a sailor adjusting sails rather than battling the tide, realigning to prevailing winds instead of exhausting strength against them. Gratitude becomes anchor, perspective the compass. You realize the journey itself is sacred classroom, shaping character more enduring than any result. As afternoon shadows lengthen, you feel the gift of margin space to notice laughter, to linger in conversation, to taste food rather than devour it mindlessly. waiting has stretched time wide enough for wonder. You rest beneath the oak again and smile at the sky's slow swirl of clouds, certain that what is meant for you cannot miss you, and what is withheld now is tempered for a richer unveiling. Hold this patience like a candle inside your ribcage, and let its warm glow illuminate every hour still to come. You arrive at the crest of the ridge, just as the sun crowns the horizon, and a river of amber spills across the valley. Every mile you walked through release, trust, guidance, provision, and patience now glows behind you like a tapestry woven from hidden threads. You pause, heartbeat, thudding praise, realizing that fulfillment is less a single burst of applause and more the gradual revelation of meaning along the journey. The outcome stands before you, perhaps a reconciled relationship, a finished task, or quiet peace inside previously fractured places, and you sense heaven smiling through it. In that brilliance, the ordinary soil beneath your feet becomes an altar. On it you lay thanksgiving. Feel gratitude rise inside your chest like larks startled into first flight. Let it sweep backward across nights of doubt and afternoons of delay, for even those shadows etched depth into this sunrise. Name the evidences, the mentor who appeared at the precise hour of need, the insight that surfaced during silence, the strength that surprised you when options thinned, the provision that arrived exact to the penny. Speak these mercies aloud, memory becomes monument, praise becomes pathway for future trust. Yet fulfillment is not a finish line that retires dependence. It is an invitation to deeper partnership. Outcomes reveal God's character in tangible form, encouraging you to trust His heart for chapters still unwritten. As you enjoy success, guard humility, celebrate collaborators, honor unseen intercessors, and bless those still waiting for their dawn. Rejoicing becomes holy when it multiplies hope rather than hoards victory, and when it redirects every compliment to the giver of all good gifts. Carry this posture into community. Share stories of provision at the dinner table. Speak affirmation over colleagues walking hard roads. Craft a note of thanks to someone who carried you in prayer. Testimony kindles embers in weary hearts, reminding them that daylight travels impartial. It will climb their horizons in due season. Joy is contagious. It loosens chains of cynicism and paints anticipation across dull skies. Notice, too, how fulfillment often arrives in forms you did not script. Perhaps the promotion you pursued transforms into a calling you never imagined. Perhaps healing appears as resilient courage rather than complete reversal. Perhaps the closed door redirected you toward a richer yes. By celebrating realities as they are, not merely as you dreamed, you align with heaven's wider creativity, discovering that God's imagination exceeds human drafts. Lift your hands, open palmed, holding both accomplishments and the unresolved. This gesture keeps trophies from turning into idols and expectations supple for tomorrow's surprises. Finally, breathe a benediction over the path behind and the miles ahead. What you complete is beautiful. What you begin next will also be good. Allow joy to permeate muscle and mind until your stride matches the rhythm of laughter. Let gratitude echo with every footfall so that even routine corridors sparkle with remembered mercy. Walk forward, celebrating results, yes, but more, celebrating the faithful one who shapes endings and beginnings with equal love, whose glory bathes each outcome in dawnlight that never dims. your eyes and remember the arc we traveled. Release, trust, guidance, provision, patience, fulfillment. Feel these 6 beats form a sacred cadence, moving you from worry to worship. Inhale assurance that every hour ahead is wrapped in divine presence. Exhale every lingering fear. Hold one intention for the day and place it in God's open hand. When you open your